Hey, good morning, Facebook. How you guys doing today? So listen, I get to lecture a lot. Many of you have seen me in person doing lectures on health and stem cells and thyroid and whatnot. And there's something that really bugs me. And a friend of mine, I was talking about this concept with a close friend of mine. Shout out to you, Jason. And this concept is that the healthcare system, it's just so wrong, right? Okay, it doesn't mean that there's not people out there are helping, and if you needed a surgery, like an emergency surgery, you needed some acute care, that we don't have good acute care in this country. We absolutely have great acute care. There's no doubt about it. But let me tell you how wrong it is, okay? So you go to your doctor, all right? Actually, I'm going to switch this up for a second. If you are a pet owner, let's say you have a dog or a cat, or something like that, and that animal is ill, all right? So the animal is sick, and you have to take that animal to the vet. The very first question that the vet is going to ask you, is, what are you feeding that animal? Okay? They're going to ask you, what are you feeding the animal? It's the number one question, right? Or what's the animal gotten into lately, right? So it's the first question that they ask. What are you feeding them, right? It's part of the intake of your animal to see what's wrong with it is, what are they eating, okay? Now, I challenge you, the vast majority of you have been to the doctor lately. Actually, the vast majority have been to the doctor any time in your entire life. And I challenge you that the first question, or not even in the first 5 minutes, if they even spend 5 minutes with you, the first thing is, they don't even ask you. It's not that they don't ask you as the first thing. They never ask you what you're eating, all right? You're never asked, what are you eating? A fundamental aspect to your life, your existence, is what are you consuming? What are the foods you're eating? What are the things you're drinking? And it's never even asked. All right, and it really bugs me. You know, the truth of the matter, I'll use more colorful language. It pisses me off, right? So it pisses me off. You take your dog or your cat to the vet, and I know many of you are very close to your animals and your pets, and some of them are you're even more close to them than your own family members, and I understand that. But the point being is, the vet has a better understanding of how to address true health than your doctor does. Any of your doctors, all right? 95% of the brain chemicals that the neurotransmitters, the chemicals that your brain uses to function, 95% of those chemicals are made in your gut. They're made in your intestines, and yet you go to the psychologist, you go to the psychiatrist, and they don't ask you, hey, what are you eating? All right, they don't ask you about your bowel habits. They don't ask you about how things are going with your digestion. They don't ask you what you're drinking. And yet 95% of those chemicals are made in your intestines, and that's a huge problem. All right, so it's a huge issue that nobody's even asking, what are you eating? All right, I see Carrie's watching, Ariana, Christy. Just understand, you go to the doctor and nobody ever asks you what you're eating. They're missing a huge component to your health, and yet it. Yeah, Carrie says, don't eat dog food, folks. The point is, I wanted to get people's attention. Yes, do not eat dog food. It is not meant for you. But the interesting thing is that if you were eating dog food and something was wrong with you and you went to the doctor and the doctor didn't ask what you were eating, understand he could miss the whole reason why you're sick, right? Dog food's meant for dogs. Cat food's meant for cats. And the vet, who knows way more about addressing health than the vast majority of healthcare providers, is going to address that when your doctor's not. So it's just something I want to talk about today, because it pisses me off that our healthcare system doesn't address the things that are actually wrong with people. And we're spending too much money on health, and we're actually spending too much money on sickness, because we're not spending enough money on health, and we're not asking enough questions about health. So that's my rant for today. I hope you guys found this valuable. Do me a favor, hit that share button and share this with your friends and family, so that they can see that there's a better way of addressing things, and they can actually truly be healthy if they pay attention to the fundamentals. Take care, everybody.